Whoa! Sab's Shed! Sab's Shed.
Hello, Cthulhu Polaris lovers. Here I am, and this is a little piece that I'm making just for photography. I don't think it will end up in the show, although you never know. It's just a little fragment of my take on the PNAKOTIC manuscripts, which in some references they say they were inscribed on metal plates. So with that in mind, I've just had a look around my workshop and I found an old foldable screen made of metal, and I've just made some cuneiform PNAKOTIC text very quickly because I'm running out of juice on the camera. It's just a few panels. I've basically taken the metal which is here, and on 4 panels, there's one there, I had some transfer material which is kind of like this. It's like a sticker you print on. I've done it in cuneiform, although it's probably reversed here. It's cuneiform, an old ancient kind of Sumerian type text, and I've stuck it onto the metal, which was a real pain. But then I've also put some more of the plaster that we used on another project over some of the areas, because I want to make it look rusty, a bit like this real piece of rusty metal here. And but the challenge today is I've only got 3 colours left from my kit that might work, which is a sort of brick red, a grey colour and a brown there. So I've just done the brown here, but now I'm going to carry on and I'm just going to do all of the colours, and we'll have a look what it looks like when I've finished. So I'll bring you back right at the end. Okay, so I'm running out of juice. Let's see what occurs. Hello Polaris lovers, just a very quick one before the tape runs out. This is the finished rusty PNAKOTIC manuscript on metal plates, and there was our guide. So it's not too bad. What we'll do is we'll put some baby oil on it when we come to do the photography. So there we are, you can just see the cuneiform coming through. Not a bad little project, I think. Quite pleased with that. Hello Polaris lovers, just a quick before and after shot of the PNAKOTIC manuscripts that I made with, if you remember, this camping windshield, and I've turned it into the rusty version, and there's our little control piece, model piece there. So that's not too bad. That should work very well for what we need. Okay, so it's had several coats of paint and finished it off with a black wash and a little bit of baby oil. Okay, that's that bit. Let's see what else we've got on the bench. Ah, there she is, the sleeping shed cat, and here is me, the idiot Sabbaton. Well, here we are back in the shed, and just a few things to show you, just on the bench right here. So right at the top I've got this little tin that I've been saving for years and years, and finally I think I might have found a use for it. So it's an old rusty tin with a lid over there that's drying, and something secret might be going in there. I'm not sure yet, but that's what it's being reserved for. Okay, secrets. Now the next thing is, in the story Polaris there are allusions towards, or references towards, an ancient manuscript, a bit like the Necronomicon, but much older, and they're called the PNAKOTIC texts. I still can't pronounce it. I won't go too much into them here, but there's also another group of manuscripts or tomes which are called the Eltdown Shards, which are connected, and they have been discovered, not directly in this story but related to this story, on pottery fragments. So I thought, which I may or may not use, but I think for the photography that I'm going to do, the promo photography, to do some Eltdown Shards and some little segments of PNAKOTIC texts, just to whet your appetite. And so I just thought I'd show you a few bits of work in progress which I'm going to use here, which may or may not end up in the finished show, but certainly in the photos that we do. Okay, so the Eltdown shards, and you can look these up yourself on the web, the Eltdown shards, look them up. Start off with, well, we've got an earthenware flower pot here, okay, but we've got a problem because we can't just smash this up and use it for stage props because it would be dangerous, and you're not allowed to do that. No, not at all. So you have to try and make something that looks like broken fragments of ancient prehistoric pottery, but in fact is not, and very safe. So first of all, we get rid of, we ditch the real earthenware pot just down there, and we take and liberate one of your mother's plastic harmless flower pots like that, and then you get a pair of scissors, chop, and you chop it up into little bits. Well, get your grown-ups' permission first, of course. Okay, so let's assume that we've got some little fragments of plastic flower pot. There it goes. Okay, there it goes over there. Thank you, Keith. And here's some that I prepared earlier. Well, there's one at least right there, a little fragment. Okay, so imagine I've got loads of these. I've done a bit of work in advance, and what you have to do then is try and change the texture of this plastic, which doesn't look real, into something that looks slightly more earthenware. So I've done this. I don't know if you can see. That is basically coated in a filler, just an ordinary ready mix filler. There you go. And so I've done a fair few of them here. There's a whole plate full on both sides, so that's quite a nice one to see. Okay, and that's the only one I haven't done, so I just left that there to show you. So I'm going to be doing that. The next thing I'm going to do, now I've done the texture. Texture is so important. I'm trying to keep this brief so I don't run out of tape or you know, bore you too much. Next thing I'm going to do is strengthen it with a bit of PVA glue, so it seals it and strengthens it a bit, and then I'll start painting it to get it a sort of nice earthenware, maybe not orange, but a sort of, you know, fossilized earthenware pot fragments, and then we'll do some other interesting things. Right, oh no, don't do that. You've seen enough there. You've seen enough. You've seen enough. Right, that's enough now. Off you go. Go on. See you later. Cheerio now. That's right. Through the door. Go on. Off you go. Forgot to mention one last thing. Back down here, please. Thank you, Keith. There we are. Here's the one I've just done. I've just squirted some of that filler on. Okay. Now the important thing is to get a texture on there. Excuse me. And you can use all sorts of material to do that. I'm just using a little thin plastic bag, and all I'm going to do, I can't do it properly, but just to show you, I can't do it with one hand either, but you lightly give it a tap. It's that sort of action. I really can't do this, but I guess you can't really see, but it's just starting to, even with that little tap, probably can't focus. Let's look at one that's done a slightly mottled effect, which is very much similar to I think the original earthenware pot. Anyway, I hope you get the idea, but when you're doing these things, just you can experiment with texture, very important, and use anything you've got to hand to try and make it. Right, that's it for now. Hello Polaris lovers, just showing you how the Eltdown shards are coming along. I've just done one coat of paint and a little bit of sand, and then there's detail to go on top of that. Okay. The quest continues. Well, you can see hopefully that we've given it a bit of texture. You can see those pieces. It's not completely finished yet. This was where we started from, an ordinary plastic flower pot, and then if you remember we put the plaster on. It's had PVA to strengthen it, then it's had an undercoat of this paint here with some sand sprinkled on top, another coat of undercoat, and then it's had a black wash, which is this, the diluted black, over the top to pick out all the details of the nooks and crannies, and then over the top of that, once it's dry, a dry brushing, a very light dry brushing of this colour, highlight colour, just over the top surfaces of the pieces where you probably can't see that. So it's had a few different coats. The next thing to do is to use the black once again, and I'm going to do some strange alien-like script over the top of it, and I'm going to be using this particular alphabet, I think, or at least start with that. So that's going to go over there, and that should be our Meltdown shards. So let's see what happens in the next stage. Hello from the shed, with my little friend Croc here, who may be appearing in the show. Just doing a final wrap up of this session in the shed here. What we've got here is the finished shards that I was looking at. Now the lighting in here is not great, but maybe you can just pick out the little bits of writing or weird writing that I've done on these shards. Can I do it there? No. That's as good as you're going to get. It's not that brilliant lighting, so hopefully you get an essence of it anyway. That might be better. You can just pick out some of the weird alien writing on it, as opposed to the more futuristic metal plating I did for the PNAKOTIC text with ancient cuneiform writing. The idea here is I've made a more human pottery shard, but with a futuristic alien script on it. And if you're wondering what this thing is that they're sitting on, it's a kind of weird rusty metal cube that I've put some sort of weird alien skin into, like circuits breaking through. I'm not sure if that's going to appear in the show yet, but there is, through the research that I've done, a kind of reference to another species of alien that infiltrated other cultures through these random kind of cube type pieces of technology that they sent through the universe, and if any other race of people interacted with them, then that was a means for this race of aliens to take over this particular species that it found. So it's a sort of, I don't know, precursor Borgian thing, but it's all connected in some way to Polaris. As I say, I'll do another video back in the office going through the current research, but one way or the other, whether I use it or not, it's informed the piece, so I've included it here. I've made the little prop, and I've included it in the primary photography, so it will probably appear in some shape or form. Anyway, thought it'd be interesting. There they are, but I'm quite pleased with the Meltdown shards project. Again, we shall see how they may appear in later stages of the production, as will perhaps Croc. So from Croc and me, say good night, Croc. Good night, Croc. Good night.
Whoa! Sab's Shed! Sab's Shed.